When billions of dollars hang in the balance, it's not uncommon for people to be less than honest, and sincerity can go out the window. The business world is a very cutthroat environment. It's always fascinating to read about the crazy tricks companies have used over time in order to get products you use every day on shelves. Check out these 10 examples of those. Number 10. Johnson & Johnson marketed potentially cancerous baby powder. While this is no longer the case, for decades, Johnson & Johnson marketed baby powder as a feminine hygiene product. Nothing really wrong with that, except for the fact that there is a lot of research to indicate that talc, the key ingredient in baby powder, can cause ovarian cancer. Meaning that baby powder really should not be placed anywhere near a woman's baby-making organs. This wasn't common knowledge at the time, except for at Johnson & Johnson, because there had in fact already been academic studies that linked how to cancer that the public simply wasn't aware of. Over 1,000 women have now sued the company for marketing their potentially dangerous product to them. And a jury recently decided they were liable for $72 million worth of damages. Number 9. Sugar companies paid researchers. Recently, you may have heard that links have been found between sugar and heart disease, and that the culprit isn't just eating too much fat, like many people believe. Well, it turns out that doctors have actually been aware of this since the 50s. So why are people only becoming aware of this recently? Maybe it has something to do with the fact that sugar companies paid researchers to lie to all of us. The Sugar Association gave 3 Harvard scientists $50,000 to write a paper about just how great sugar really was for the health of Americans. The Sugar Association and the scientists passed the paper back and forth until the company was happy, and then it got published in the New England Journal of Medicine. The Sugar Association kept up those tactics for decades. Meanwhile, Dr. Hegstead, one of the researchers who was paid to praise sugar, would later go on to become head of nutrition for the USDA, where he would recommend that kids eat less sugar. Contrary to his initial advice that eating sugar was a great pastime for the youth of America. Number 8. Drug companies repackage old drugs. Names, packaging, and marketing are essential for every product from lawnmowers to psych meds. Unfortunately, this example deals with the latter. Prozac, the antidepressant, has a sciencey sort of name, while Serafem, with its more feminine name, was marketed towards women as a cure for premenstrual dysphoric disorder, meaning all the terrible things that accompany menstruation. However, unknown to most people who aren't familiar with its scientific name, Prozac and Serafem are actually the same drug. The only reason Serafem exists is because the patent on Prozac, owned by the company Eli Lilly, was about to expire. This would mean that their competitors would be able to create their own generic versions of the product, and the price of Prozac would fall due to competition. So Eli Lilly created Serafem, which allowed them to extend their patent for a few years and fool most consumers into believing it was a fundamentally different product. This is basically another example of pharmaceutical companies doing all they can to keep the prices of their products high. Number 7. Tobacco companies target poor people. Ever notice how in old movies, it's rich people who are sitting around smoking, while they talk about rich people things like diamonds and show first? Then why is it the case that now smoking isn't really seen as a high-class thing to do? Well, the transition wasn't entirely organic. Tobacco companies specifically target low-income neighborhoods with ads and cheaper cigarettes in an attempt to get them hooked. It's gotten so bad that around 70% of all homeless people smoke, but it doesn't stop there. Tobacco companies also target third-world countries where awareness of the dangers of smoking isn't as prevalent as it is in the United States. And because third-world countries also have more lax advertising laws, companies can get away with doing crazy things like putting up cigarette ads on playgrounds and offering free cigarettes to teenagers. Essentially, as knowledge about the dangers of cigarettes becomes more and more widespread, Big Tobacco has simply found those corners of the world where there are still people to trick. Number 6. Exxon knew about climate change before the public did. Back in 1981, Exxon chose not to develop a huge reserve of natural gas in Indonesia, even though doing so would have resulted in billions of dollars worth of. They held back because developing the reserve would have meant venting massive quantities of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and had an impact on global warming. It seems like Exxon really has humanity's collective backs. Well, it would seem that way. If it weren't for the fact that they only did this because they knew causing a large ecological disaster would draw attention, and therefore prevent them from causing many other small ecological disasters. Rather than share their research about climate change with the scientific community at large, They instead chose to fund anti-climate change research. Willie Soon, a prominent anti-climate change scientist at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics, was shown in 2015 to have received $1.2 million from Exxon. Exxon was also kind enough to donate $2.3 million to members of Congress and a corporate lobby group who denied climate change. Number 5. Ashley Madison blackmails their customers. While other companies that have appeared in this list may have come as something of a surprise, it probably isn't all too shocking that Ashley Madison, the website dedicated to help people looking for an affair, is extremely underhanded and shady. The 2016 hack that revealed all of their user data also revealed that 80% of men's first attempt at contacting a potential mistress was not a mistress at all, but a bot. This was probably done by Ashley Madison to try and hide the fact that the website is mostly men, and there simply aren't enough mistresses to go around. When some men try to get their money back because of the hack and the bot revelation, they got the following response from Ashley Madison: "We are not threatening you. We are laying the facts to you. When a person disputes a charge towards a company, the credit card company will mail to your home the documents needed from that company in order to complete the investigation of the charge back." Somehow a statement with the phrase, "we are not threatening you" in it doesn't seem all that convincing. Somehow, it isn't that surprising that the company that helps people keep secrets from their spouses secretly threatens their own customers. Number 4. Netflix intentionally lowers their streaming speed. The great thing about Netflix is that unlike real TV, there aren't any advertisements, and unlike just powering things, it doesn't take forever and isn't illegal. However, you may have noticed that Netflix doesn't always work as well on mobile devices. Perhaps you assume that your phone just doesn't have the power that your computer does, or that maybe you dropped it one too many times. Actually, Netflix intentionally throttles their streaming speeds on mobile devices because they don't want you to use up all your data. They reasoned that it was better to keep people watching for longer, at worse quality, than have people quickly use up all their data and then have to stop watching. So, for once you can't actually be mad at your cell phone company, and your longtime friend Netflix is actually to blame. Number 3. Disney World uses fake American flags. If you ever go to Disney World and aren't too caught up in the magic, take a moment to look at the huge number of American flags everywhere. You will see that they aren't technically American flags at all, because they have less than 50 stars. In fact, they only have 37 stars. Does Disney do this because they're actually communists, terrorists, communist terrorists? No, Disney is just very efficient and interested in saving money. There are rules that come with displaying a proper American flag. They have to be lit at night. They have to be taken down if there's bad weather, and they have to be moved to half-mast for special occasions. Rather than pay people to do all of this, Disney decided to instead do the unpatriotic thing and just use faux flags. The casual observer can't really tell the difference, since the flags are either going to be flapping in the wind or laying down straight, and so they get away with pretending that they're genuine flags. Number 2. Toyota ignored their faulty pedals. In 2010, Toyota was forced to have a massive recall due to the fact that some floor mats would trap the accelerator of the car, causing many fatal accidents. The problem was eventually brought to light by people who were not at Toyota, and it seemed like that would be the end of the story. Except then documents came out revealing that Toyota was using that recall to stall and hide its many other faulty pedals. Despite the fact that Toyota was fully aware of the problems before they were forced to order a recall, they did not notify the government like they're required to do in the US and in Europe. They specifically told distributors not to replace the part unless customers specifically complained about it. Toyota even canceled a potentially life-saving design change because they fear it would tip off investigators. So not only was Toyota aware of the problems that ended up killing people before they actually killed people, but they actively tried to avoid fixing the cars. Number 1. Lumber Liquidators is allegedly helping to kill Siberian tigers. The Mongolian oak tree is essential to the survival of the Siberian tiger, as its acorns attract some of the animal's favorite prey: red deer, roe deer, and wild boar. Because the Siberian tiger is currently on the endangered species list, with less than 450 left in the wild, cutting down the Mongolian oak tree for logging is illegal. But this doesn't stop everyone, and there's evidence that some of these renegade loggers who apparently hate tigers sell to lumber liquidators. The Environmental Investigation Agency went undercover to see just what exactly was going on with these trees and discovered that they were cut down in the middle of the night. mixed with legally obtained wood sold to Russian and Chinese buyers who in turn sold it to companies in the United States. Lumber Liquidators was allegedly one of these companies, only allegedly of course, who doesn't trust giant corporations. Clearly, human beings are not at their most moral when dealing with massive quantities of cash. Do you know any other secrets we should shed some light on? Please let us all know in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.